ಬರೀ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today I am going to speak about information literacy skills that are required for 21st century. My presentation will be under these headings. It starts from transition of society from agricultural to industrial and to information society, and we are moving towards knowledge society. Impact of the next heading will be impact of ICT on information society. We shall see how the information seeking behavior of users is changing in information society, transformation of libraries, and the skills that are required to survive in this information society. I will be concentrating next on components of information society. I will also discuss about information literacy models and information literacy standards and how to offer the information literacy instructions, and that will be my presentation will be concluded with concluding remarks. We all know that while developed countries have already moved towards knowledge society, we are a step behind. We are still in information society where information is power. The information society is a term for society in which the creation, distribution, and manipulation of information have become significant economic and cultural activities. It also means that significant amount of income is being generated by information related activities like information generation, value addition, and marketing of information, etc. Some of the basic characteristics of information economy are increased reliance on activities directly related to production, distribution, and utilization of information, effective use of information for all human activities. And another major contributor to information society is application of information and communication technologies for information generation, distribution, access, and utilization. Dominance of electronic and web-based information and openness of economy. While the information society is being information economy is characterized by so many characteristics, this has led to changes in the workplace in information society also. Like workplaces are becoming more decentralized, they are becoming more diverse and more global. Job security has become thing of the past, and organization structure of corporation world is also changing from hierarchical to horizontal structure. Here, every worker participates in the management of the company. So this has led to change in the perception of the concept of information also. Traditional concept of information for preservation has given way to information for development. Globalization and liberalization of developing economies has necessitated the individuals to be efficient users of information. Information is no longer considered as a sacred cow, it is being treated as a resource and a marketable product. And here I have tried to bring out major landmarks in the history of digital revolution, which has led to transition in society from industrial to information society, and ultimately it has affected our way of managing information also, and ultimately it has led to changes in the transformation of the library. You can see various gadgets, then changes in application of AI and big data in libraries, application of virtual reality, network society, and use of digital technologies in classrooms, which has ultimately affected the way that we function in libraries. All these changes have led to change in the information seeking behavior of users also. Younger generation especially, whom we usually call as Google generation, they are adopting horizontal information seeking. That means they are not going into depth of a topic. It's a form of skimming activity where they view one or two pages from the web page and then bounce out, and they never returns back to that web page. They have a very poor understanding of their information needs. They lack skills to frame the right strategy while searching. And they usually exhibit squirreling behavior. That means they want to keep their contents in the form of downloads. If they feel that it is necessary, they don't even go into the depth of that the content. They just download it and save it in the folders which they may not read later. So the user behavior is diverse today, depending upon their geographical location, their gender, the type of organization in they are working, etc. They have zero tolerance for delay and demand that their information needs to be met immediately. And they have very less awareness about the implications of intellectual property rights. So, in these circumstances, libraries are also changing, right from the nomenclature of libraries, which is changing from libraries to information resource centers, green libraries, open libraries, ultimately virtual libraries, etc. Document collection has changed from print resources to e-resources, which may include e-documents, web pages, etc. Library services are moving from conventional services towards online information access and retrieval, online reference services, etc. ICT has changed the way libraries function, and that has led to emergence of digital libraries, virtual libraries, and offering services like chat with the librarian, creating and maintaining institutional repositories, automating all the library activities, and many other areas which have been influenced by ICT. And ICT has led to transformation of libraries from conventional reading space to informal, relaxed, and collaborative space. Under these circumstances, to adopt to this situation, every user or every citizen require certain skills to survive in information society, and major skills that are required are independent learning, lifelong learning, critical thinking, social responsibility, using information effectively and efficiently for problem solving. So information literacy is a means for developing these skills for surviving in information society. So again, I have listed some of the in the form of an illustration. I have tried to identify the activities or the skills that needs to be developed. What does this information literacy means? Paul Zurkowski, for the first time, he used the term information literacy in 1974. He defines it as a set of abilities requiring individuals to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use information effectively and efficiently. And a person is considered as an information literate if he is able to realize that he needs information and he knows where the resources are available and how to find it. After finding that information, there is need for evaluating those results, and he should use that information ethically and responsibly. And he should also know how to communicate and share his findings and manage the findings. There is an old saying, usually attributed to Confucius, that goes something like this: give a man a fish, and you will feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you have fed him for his lifetime. So, instead of right away giving the information to the users, training our users to adopt new technologies in problem solving, inculcating creative thinking, independent learning, and lifelong learning. These are the main objectives of information literacy. Again, I have tried to stress the need for information literacy in information society. As we all know, we nobody knows how many web pages are there, how much of information is available on internet, and it is being generated by various organizations on various media, and most of this information is unfiltered. Information comes in various forms and formats. Sheer volume and variety of information leads to confusion among consumers of information. And ever changing technology and social changes have made it impossible for a person to keep himself or herself up to date and use these technologies efficiently. Hence, it is necessary to train our users to learn, unlearn, and relearn their skills. Learn means learn new technology, new skills, and unlearn the obsolete technologies or skills that you have developed. And in case of some improvement, better to learn to relearn the skills. All of us know Alvin Toffler, author of Third Wave, who says an illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And he further says, by instructing students how to learn, unlearn, and relearn, a powerful new dimensions can be added to education. If you just have a look at the history of information literacy, as I mentioned earlier, Paul Zurkowski used this term in 1974. That means this field is, it's not very old field, it's an emerging area. And next major landmark was meeting of Presidential Committee on Information Literacy, which released its report in 1989, and then formation of a national forum on information literacy, a coalition of more than 90 national and international organizations. In 1998, American Association of School Libraries, AASL and AECT, they published a monumental publication called Information Power, Building Partnerships for Learning. And there they introduced or they framed 9 standards under 3 categories: information literacy, independent learning, and social responsibility. And these 3 categories are the main, these 9 standards are can be are they give guidelines for offering information literacy courses in higher education and at school level. And then in 1999, Sconal, it proposed 7 pillars of information literacy model. And in 2003, National Commission on Libraries and Information Science was sponsored, and those resolutions are termed as Pro Declaration, which was a landmark in the history of information literacy. And there they described information literacy as a key to social, cultural, and economic development of nations and communities in 21st century. Another major landmark was Alexandria Proclamation, and US President Barack Obama in he designated October 2009 as National Information Literacy Awareness Month in USA. He further proclaimed that rather than merely possessing data, we must also learn the skills necessary to acquire, collate, and evaluate information for any situation. Though we may not know how to find the information we need, we must also know how to evaluate it. I have given different definitions of information society, information literacy, etc. So I have already defined information literacy, which is an ability to identify the need for information, locate, evaluate, and use it effectively to achieve our objective. This is the standard definition being given by American Library Association. A skill is the abilities that one possesses or abilities one develops through training. There's another equally important terminology called competency. See, skills can be developed through training. It's not inborn. Whereas competency needs in-depth knowledge in that area. Okay. So this presentation aims to discuss only information literacy skills, and I will not be concentrating on cognitive competencies and further concepts. Shapiro and Hughes advocated a more holistic approach to information literacy education, and they suggested 7 important components of information literacy. And they said that information literacy is an umbrella which includes 7 different literacies like tool literacy, resource literacy, etc., which I will be discussing in detail. Tool literacy term has been replaced by ICT literacy or digital literacy. So nobody can survive without gaining literacy in digital technology. So that's what digital literacy means. And that too in a networked digital environment, we should be able to access the information resources that are geographically distributed by the users who may be located in any part of the world, and they should be able to access the information available in a variety of formats, electronic formats, and They should be able to provide seamless access on 24 by 7 by 365 basis. These digital resources can be accessed, produced, printed, or shared on a network. And ultimately, the user of information should be able to do all these things for which he needs training. Mark Schaefer has identified four digital revolutions: World Wide Web, search engines, social media and mobile technologies, and also artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality. We have already witnessed the influence of the first three technologies and artificial intelligence to some extent, but the impact of virtual reality and augmented reality will be really profound, and it will be much impact will be much more than artificial intelligence or the existing internet. So what I would like to say is the way that's what I have tried to emphasize, how augmented technology reality is going to change our life. And I have identified some of the skills that are required under digital literacy. And further, Little John has found that majority, so I'm concentrating only on higher education system. And in this context, Little John says that students in higher education, they're conversant with ICT tools. They know how to use internet and web 2 based services like social media networks and others. But there is no correlation between their ability to use these technologies in social settings and their competence in using these technologies for formal higher learning. Therefore, there is need to impart digital literacy skills in the context of specific subjects. Next comes resource literacy. Resource literacy means ability to understand the form, format, location, and access methods of information resources, especially networked information resources. By form, I mean documentary form like print resources or non-documentary forms like web pages, databases, online journals, or even subject experts as a source of information, which we usually call as invisible colleges and institutional resources, etc. Different formats include print, electronic, in different file formats, etc. In this context, it is necessary for LIS professionals to train the users in locating, evaluating, and using the electronic information, train them in using that information ethically and morally, educate them in designing and implementing effective search strategies, educate them in locating information available in various formats, create awareness among users about implications of IPR. Sociocultural literacy says that every piece of information gains meaning depending upon the social and cultural context in which it is situated. For example, information on social problems has different connotations in different countries. Child marriage is a social problem in India, but it's not relevant in advanced countries like USA or UK. So, information literate person which should have a deep awareness, connection, and fluency with the information environment in which it is situated. So, Lloyd views information literacy as a complex socio-cultural process. It should be possible for an information literate person to understand the socio-cultural situation in which that information is located or situated. As a higher education users, they have to possess research literacy. A researcher or a student or anybody involved in higher education system should be able to recognize the research problem, formulate hypothesis, locate, analyze, interpret, evaluate, and record the information and ideas, apply heuristic strategies, develop complex understanding of interrelationship of variables in their research area, and extend their understandings through creative models. So I have tried to explain the research literacy through a diagram also. Then comes publishing literacy. Not only doing research and finding out the results, they should also be able to format and publish their research ideas electronically in textual as well as on multimedia, because they have to give their introduce their findings to the community of scholars. So, publishing is fundamental literacy that relies on traditional skills of reading and writing and integrating the skills to incorporate multimedia data within the text. Developments in e-publishing industry has opened up avenues for online publishing, self-publishing, etc. On the other hand, online publishing and open access publishing also raises concerns about privacy, plagiarism, and other copyright issues on, on which we have to create awareness and teach them to use information ethically. This is just a diagram which includes all the literacies required in scholarly communication. And regarding IPR, these are the different types of information medium being used, like patent. It may be information, maybe in the form of a patent, copyright, etc. So there is need. I mean, one of the aspects of information literacy is one should have skills to use the information ethically. So that means we have to create awareness about plagiarism. Plagiarism occurs when one person's intellectual property is passed off as another's, with or without the agreement of the original owner's right. It amounts to infringement of copyrights. Plagiarism among students is ethically and legally unacceptable. It also deprives the students of the benefit of personal emancipation and educational development. So, the plagiarism may be in the form of cheating, it may be in the form of fabrication of the results, it may be copying one's findings, or it may be in many other forms. So, there is need to create awareness. If you remember Isaac Newton saying, he says, in connection with research, if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. That means what he means is one develops future intellectual pursuits by understanding and building on the research and works created by notable thinkers of the past. So, librarians can contribute to this area by raising their voice for ethical and legal use of information. And they can create awareness among their users about the consequences of plagiarism. So, these are the some of the slides related to plagiarism. Another component of information literacy is emerging technology literacy, which means the ability to continuously adapt to, understand, evaluate, and make use of continuously emerging innovations in information technology and in one's own area of research. Keep oneself up to date with latest technologies and techniques applicable to one's profession is what emerging technology literacy means. This is one of the most important component of information literacy, that is critical literacy. Critical literacy refers to the ability to evaluate critically the intellectual, human, and social strengths and weaknesses, potential and limits. Students usually tend to use the information that is easily available on internet. But once we get because most of the information on internet is unfiltered, it is essential to evaluate the web resources before using that information contained for their validity, currency, reliability, and accuracy. Hence, there is need to create awareness among students about the need to evaluate the information before using it and introduce a criteria to be adopted for evaluation of web-based resources. Media literacy. Media literacy is the ability to access, analyze, evaluate the information that is assimilated from media, such as radio, television, newspapers, etc., and also have the ability to create information suitable for a variety of media. So, information literacy, media literacy is the 21st century approach to education. We are all witnessing it through online classes, online tutorials, lectures through television, etc. It provides framework to access, analyze, evaluate, create, and participate with messages in various forms, right from print to video and then to web resources. Media literacy builds an understanding of the role of media in the society, as well as essential skills of inquiry and self-expression necessary for the citizens of a democracy, not only for students, it is necessary for a common man also. So, media literacy is essential, especially in the COVID and post-COVID world. After discussing about different components of literacy, it is time to discuss about information literacy models and standards. Why do we need information literacy models? Information literacy models are like roadmap for information seeking process. They show a perfect path to individual about how to find, analyze, and use information. And they further serve as guidelines for developing information literacy skills among student community or any community for that matter. They can also help LIS professionals and LIS educators to frame information literacy curriculum, objectives, learning outcomes, course content, and assessment criteria. Some of the important models that have been proposed are Sconal's 7 pillars of information literacy, Big Six information problem solving model of information literacy, Kultow's information search process, Stripling and Pitt's research process model. I'll be very briefly going through this Sconal model. Sconal means for College, National and University Libraries. This was a monumental work that was published, 7 pillars of information literacy. Each model, this was proposed, again they proposed it in 2011 as a new model for different group of learners. And this model can be adopted for training the students in the higher education and to impart information literacy skills. So Sconal, each model in information literacy gives you the steps involved in information seeking. Like in Sconal model has identified 7 steps: identify scope, decide the scope, plan your data collection, gather the data, evaluate it, manage it, and present it. So the 7 pillars also highlight that becoming an information literate is not a linear process. It's not like after this step, you go to the next step. A person can develop 7 skills simultaneously or independently. Though in practice, they are often closely linked. Each pillar is further described as a series of statements relating to a set of skills, competencies, and a set of attitudes and understandings. So these are the 7 skills which I expressed showed through diagram that have been given explanation. Then comes Big Six model. Again, Big Six model says 6 steps. It has identified 6 steps in information seeking. This model is the most widely used model for solving information problems, and it's an excellent tool for organizing research process. This model is proposed by Michael Eisenberg and Berkowitz in 2001. They have defined 6 steps like task definition, information seeking strategies, etc. Then comes Kultow's information search process model. And mainly this model is relevant for researchers, which was proposed by Carol Kultow. And this model shows how users approach the research process and how the user's confidence increases at a very stage. Then comes Stripling and Pitt's model of information literacy. Again, he enumerates different 10 steps in research process has been enumerated in this model. So this Stripling model further gives an overview of research topic itself. It's mainly for researchers. It goes on saying step 1 is choose a topic, have an overview, etc. After understanding the information literacy models, which serves as a guideline for planning and implementing research information literacy program. Then comes the question of assessing the information literacy, being understood by this information literacy skills imbibed by the users or the students. For that, we have a set of standards. So these information literacy standards provide a framework for assessing the information literate individuals. Okay, and these standards they outline the competencies that are expected from an information literate person. They have given a number of performance indicators, outcomes, etc. So outcomes serve as guideline for faculty, librarians, and others in developing local methods for measuring students' learning in the context of particular institution's mission. Among different information literacy models, two important set of standards have been proposed. One by AASL and ALA and another by ACRL. AASL standards, they aim towards providing guidelines to impart and assess information literacy skills among students at school level. On the other hand, ACRL standards aim to provide guidelines for imparting and assessing the information skills, literacy skills among students of higher education. So, AASL standards for information literacy has given 9 standards under 3 categories. And in these 9 standards, they have identified 21 performance indicators to describe the information literate students. So these 3 categories in which they have identified are category 1 information literacy, independent learning, and social responsibility. Those who are interested can go to the actual ACRL standards and find out the outcomes they have. For each standard, they have listed a number of performance indicators and outcomes. You can go for an in-depth study of this standard. So information literacy standards for higher education is what is more important for us. So as I mentioned, ACRL has developed 5 standards, 22 performance indicators, and 88 outcomes. Standards focus upon the needs of students in higher education at all levels, and also it lists a range of outcomes for assessing their progress towards information literacy. These outcomes serve as guidelines for evaluators or trainers in developing their strategy to offer training and assess the students. I have listed these 5 standards. Again, if one is interested, one can go for detailed study of ACRL standards. Okay. Among these models, in Big Six is model is the one which is being extensively used in offering information in training the users in information skills in higher education. Then comes, once you decide which model you have to adopt for offering the training and which standard to be adopted to evaluate their development of skills, one has to decide upon how to offer this training. And here comes the information literacy instructions. Information literacy instructions in academic setting includes various instructional approaches. It may be offered as a course related library instruction sessions, or it may be course integrated projects, online tutorials, standalone courses, etc. Again, it may be credit based, it may be non-credit based. So that doesn't mean that this is a new concept. Librarians have been imparting library skills to the students. Earlier, they were calling it as bibliographic instructions. Then they started calling it as library instructions, and right now we call it as user orientation or library tour. However, in the present situation, it is necessary to shift our focus of information literacy instructions from teaching specific information sources to a set of critical thinking skills involving the involved in the use of information. That means, instead of introducing them like what are the encyclopedias available, what are the journals available, it's better we teach them how to locate those informations, how to identify their need, how to locate their information sources, how to evaluate it, and then how to use it ethically. So here I have introduced some of the implementation approaches. But once you decide to offer information literacy training for your students, there are many things associated with it, like you should decide your audience for whom you are training, what is the purpose, what is the budget you have, who all will be involved in it, and what are the facilities and what should be the time frame, etc. So for a successful information literacy instruction programs, you better consider these characteristics, like it should be user oriented or student oriented, it should be collaborative learning method should be adopted, and then you should have particular course goals, curriculum should be well framed, there should definitely be partnership between library and the faculty members and other campus departments as well as administrative staff, support of faculty learning and development, scalability for a large number of, that means if you have decided if you have designed your course module for 50 students, there should be scope for scaling it for a higher number of students. There are few approaches that are being adopted at present, like online information literacy instruction, where you upload the training instructions and students can access it from remote place anytime, anywhere, and then they have to complete that instruction course. In America, they have already offering such type of courses in several universities, or you have a tutorial step by step training, like University of Texas has an information literacy tutorial, or it can be offered as credit based or non credit based course, either in distant mode or face to face mode, or it may be a blended learning, that means you include information literacy skills within their regular curriculum, or it may be custom designed instructions depending upon the requirement, resources available, etc. Some of the challenges that are being forced in that being faced in offering information literacy instructions are motivating the students to learn information literacy skills. They are more concentrated, they concentrate more on their technical developing technical skills, so it is a difficult task to motivate them, and then assessing them about their mastery of the concepts and skills is also difficult. And then we need to train the librarians to serve as instructors to offer the training. Then advocating the value of information literacy in an environment of competing literacies. So we cannot clearly say tomorrow, today we have seven components, tomorrow one more dimension may be added. So it is difficult to decide only this much comes under information literacy. More multidisciplinary approach to information literacy program will create new opportunities for curriculum integrated and long lasting instructional experience, through which will help them throughout their career. And we should never forget the partnership that should be forged among the ILIS professionals, teaching faculty, and the administrators. Each one have a definite role to play. Like librarians are very good in providing information. They know exactly where particular information is available. On the other hand, teachers have control over their students. They have a virtual monopoly, so they can insist that the students, they can motivate the students to go for information literacy courses and motivate them to develop these skills. Administrators are equally important because it is they who initiate programs, facilitate interdisciplinary interactions, and provide budget for that program, etc. And there are certain barriers in partnership as usual. Librarians may not be seen as having sufficient knowledge about teaching. Teachers may think librarians, what do they know? They know only about the practical aspects and they may not have teaching skills. And librarians may think, why do we need teachers? Library, it's our responsibility to impart the training. And there may be lack of confidence, enthusiasm on the part of the librarians and academicians because it is going to be an additional work. There may be differences of opinion regarding the content, topics to be included in that program. So institution's culture also influences the partnership. But one has to overcome all these things and work as a team if we really want to train our students to become lifelong learners, independent learners, and critical thinkers. So I have framed a framed a sample curriculum which can be adopted for initial training, basic information literacy skills. And at an advanced level, one can go for imparting cognitive skills at a higher level. Once the training is given, assessment is also equally important. There are many tools for measuring students' knowledge of information literacy, but there is no standardized method of measuring them. And basically, ACRS standard serves as a guidelines for evaluating their competence through performance indicators and outcome measurement. A desired characteristics of an assessment instrument is it should assess at the institutional level, not at the instructor's level. And it should allow for pre-testing and post-testing. Conduct one test in the beginning to measure their skills and conduct another test at the end and find out the increase whether they have really developed the skills, to what extent they have developed the skills, etc. And it should be easy to administer to the students, and it should be a standardized instrument, and it should be geared towards national standards for information literacy. And we have to be able to assess both their lower order skills and cognitive skills. Cognitive, the new concept that is being introduced is meta literacy. They are started talking about meta literacy, which includes cognitive skills like thinking. That's an entirely different, new advanced next part of this information literacy skills, which can be covered in another presentation. If we look at some of the tools that can be used for evaluating their or assessing their skills is portfolio, learning and research logs, and rubrics. Portfolio allows students to demonstrate learning and growth over a period of time. It should be well planned and implemented. The student, after completion of a particular assignment or course, should write about the problems he faced and lessons he learned. Then comes the learning logs. They are usually useful for extracting the information. They take notes, they divide the paper into two columns. In one column, they write the whatever information they extracted from the source. In another column, they give their reflections, reactions, comments, etc. Research logs are another tool that can be used for assessing their skills. Then rubrics can also be used, which is being already used in many institutions. It's defined as a standard of performance for a defined population. It describes what learners should know and be able to do. Big Six model helps in assessment of information literacy skills, and we can take Big Six model as a guideline for developing our assessment tool. On the other hand, ACRL, or American Association of Higher Education, writes that learning is multidimensional, integrated, and it is revealed in performance over time. Hence, an assessment tool, any assessment tool used to measure the range of students' achievement should use multiple methods of assessment administered at critical points throughout the learning process. So there should be a continuous evaluation of the student for their development of skills instead of end of the course assessment. Some of the trends in information literacy programs include, we can identify the trend under 5 broad areas, like what are the resources that have been developed for literacy training, what are the publications that have come out, which are the organizations that are working for development of information literacy, training programs that are being conducted for training the trainers, and then communication events such as workshops, conferences, etc. I have listed some of the important programs that have already been done, associations, etc. To conclude my presentation, I would like to say that information literacy is important to every citizen to survive in this information society. It is more important in higher education since it creates an independent learner, lifelong learner, and a critical thinker. Learning goes beyond formal education. If universities produce critical thinking individuals, they will be able to continuously grow in their career, become good citizens, and contribute to society positively. Integration of information literacy training skills training into curriculum is the best way to impart information literacy skills. That means embedded learning or integrated learning would be better than offering standalone courses. There is need for partnership among academicians, librarians, and administrative staff for the success of an information literacy program. Assessment tools suitable for local circumstances should be designed in accordance with ACRS standards for higher education. With this, I thank you. I thank organizers for giving me an opportunity, and I thank all the participants for your patient listening. Thank you.